Hey, good morning, Valley Middle School. Welcome back to another G67 math video. Today we're going to be looking at positive and negative rate of change. Before we do that, let's take a look at our trivia question for the day. First of all, which VMSS teacher wore an Annie wig every day for a year? Now, I'm going to have to qualify this and say this was as a child, because I'm pretty sure Mr. Persons wore an Annie wig at one point in time in his life as an adult, but not as a child. All right, let's get to the official target today. I can find positive and negative rates of change. Let's do this thing. All right, let's take a look at this table here. So this table shows a number of entries in Alicia's email contact list at the end of 2004 to 2006. So let's just take a look here. So we have the entries in 2004. She had 10 contacts and, well, not exactly a bursting social life there. And in 2006, she's up to 38. I think she may have made up some friends there to get that increase there. But let's take a look at the questions we're supposed to answer here. So first of all, we need to know what is the change in the number of entries from 2004 to 2006. Well, let's click this here. All right, looks like there's a difference then of 28 entries. So it went from 10 to 38, and that makes sense. A little subtraction there. And then down on the bottom here, the second question, over what number of years did this take place? Well, from 2004 to 2006, we can subtract there and find that the difference is 2. All right, so this is kind of the whole crux of the target right here. Write a rate that compares the change in the number of entries to the change in the number of years, and express this, your answer as a unit rate, and explain what it means. All right, so if I write that out, I've got a total of 28 entries in 2 years. Now, my daughter said that sometimes kids have trouble figuring out what do you put on the top and what do you put on the bottom when you're doing this. And a little shout out to Mr. McNeil here. He's one who had just explained to her, well, he said, are you looking at entries per year or years per entry? Well, it makes the most sense to do entries per 1 year. So when you've got your ratio set up, or your fraction, however you want to think about it, it's definitely here 28 per year. You can just simplify that then, just like you would simplify a fraction, down to 14 units or 14 entries per 1 year. So 14 to 1. So that's a positive rate of change. This number of new entries increased. So 14 new entries per year. That's the average. And you can even take and graph that information. So here she is in 2004 at 10 entries. In 2006, she's up to 38. And you can notice that there's this positive slope to it. The rate is increasing. It's going up when you look left to right. And of course, we could have even started right here with this information, just a couple of dots on there, and then we could have determined the rate of increase from that as well, because we've got here 10 entries in 2004, and you can see that in 2006 we're up to 38. All right, let's take a look at some must-know words for today. First of all, we got the old math word-o-deo. What is rate of change? Well, that's a rate that describes how one quantity changes in relation to another. Now, positive rates, they show an increase, and negative rates show a decrease. I love this little pic here I snapped right from your math book. Here you can see that the positive rate, it's slanting upward, just like our email contact example in the first slide. A negative rate, well, that's decreasing. That's slanting downward. And if it's no change or zero change, you're going to have yourself a horizontal line. Now, as I said, when you're trying to figure out what goes on top and bottom, typically there's some sort of a change that's happening over a period of time. But it could be some sort of a miles per gallon change or something like that. If you just do what Mr. McNeil suggested and ask the question, what's the most logical, entries per year or years per entry, you'll be able to figure out what you want in the what you want as that unit rate, or unit meaning 1, rate of 1. All right, let's get on to our instruction here today. So I think you probably know there's some sort of a kind of a volatile relationship between Miss Plinka and I. We've been going after each other for years, and I've been a stand-up guy about this whole thing, but she's been pretty mean to me. I got to be honest with you. My feelings are hurt. All right, so Miss Palenka, she's been dissing me for years, and so study this table and answer the following questions here. So it looks like in 2014 she insulted me 2,000 times, 2015 3,000, wow. 2016 and 3,600, and we're just getting warmed up here in 2017. So, all right. So describe the rate of change in the number of insults between 2014 and 2016. Well, first of all, we got to look at those years from 16 to 14. So when we do that, you can see that the difference is, it looks like 1,600, 3,600 minus 2,000. We find the difference there. That's an increase of 1,600 insults. And from 2016 to 2014, that increase happened over 2 years. So if you simplify that, you divide by 800 here, you're at this rate of 800, you divide by 2 here, you're at this unit rate of 800 to 1. So the insults increased by an average of 800 insults per year. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. So here I made a little chart of the abusive comments by Palinka, and you can see the steady increase here from 2014 to 2016. Are you with me? I think you can handle this. All right, let's take a look at another one. During which of these time periods did Miss Palinka, I forgot to tell you about what a good guy I am. And I rarely do anything to harm any person. I'm just a gentle soul. But I was just thinking that this picture here, I mean, it's very glamorous in a way, but I think this just kind of adds to it, enhances it just a bit, don't you? I think so. All right, next question. During which of these time periods did the rate of insults increase the most? Okay, so for this type of question, we have to look at each set of time intervals. So if we look from 2014 to 2015, we can see that down here, that if we find the difference between those years, it's only 1 year, but the rate of insults increased 1,000 units, or 1,000 insults per year, or as I like to put over here, 1,000 cold pricklies per year. We'll go into a little elementary mode there. Now, if you take a look at the next one, because we have to compare them from 2015 to 2016, that's 1 year, of course, and there was only 600 insults that year. So 600 cold pricklies that year. So it looks like the rate increased the most between 2014 and 2015. However, there was a positive rate of change. So 1,000 in 1 year, 600 in the other. So there's where we got our average last slide of 800 insults per year. So we can graph that as well. And you can see this was where the rate was the highest rate. It's steeper. And then it tended to tail off just a little bit here. She was absent a whole bunch of days this year here from school, probably pretending she's sick. She came back, it's funny, every time she came back from being sick in the spring, she had a tan. Might be a connection there, I'm not sure. All right, let's keep rolling then. Once again, Miss Palinka, this could help a little bit too. Again, I studied some art in Paris, and I'll try to help beautify her just a touch each slide. Don't forget to remind me. All right, so in this one here, this is one of those you try slides, so let's see how you do here. Why don't you describe the rate of change in Miss Palinka's jogging from January to February 2016. So we got January, February, and March of 2016, and you've got your table here. So go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. All right, let's see how you did. Well, first of all, you got to find the difference. So looks like I've got that set up for you here. Looks like from January to February, the difference was a total of 30 miles for that 1 month. So it went down, from 120 to 90. So we have a 30 miles per month decrease. So this is our first negative rate of change here. So it went down. We can graph this as well. Let me see if I slide down here. So you can see now we see this negative slope here. The rate has decreased from January to February. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe she was too busy insulting me then. There's probably a direct correlation there. See if we can do anything to help her beautify her just a little bit more. There we go. She's starting to look a little bit like Catwoman or something with a beard. All right, one more question for you to try here. So how about describing the rate of change in Miss Palinka's jogging from January to March 2016? Go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. All right, well, let's see here. If I look at this, now we're looking at a 2-month span. And it's just at first glance, you can see that, yeah, it did drop, and we saw that in the last question, but overall it went from 120 to 150. So we are seeing an increase here. Let me just get rid of that. So if we find the difference, 150 minus 120 miles jogged in that 2-year period of time, we'll see that we can simplify that. We've got this down to 30 miles over a 2-month period of time. Simplified as a unit rate, it's 15 miles per 1 month, or a 15 mile per month. Remember that this word per means each. 15 miles per month increase. So the rate increased by, I gotta change this real quick, 15 miles per month. And we can take a look here and see that over the course of those months, we did have an increase. Even though last time, I believe I put I left a line in here. Last time we were at this point down here. It increased from January to February and then increased sharply from February to March to give an overall increase if we looked at a January to March type of time interval. All right, I think you've had enough there. It's time to take a look at our ticket to the show. This time you'll be, instead of a table, you're going to be reading information right off the graph here. So computers, the graph shows the average cost of personal computers for the year 1997 through 2002. Find the rate of change in cost between 1998 and 2000 and describe how this rate is shown on the graph. You're doing exactly what we've been talking about here for the last 11 minutes. All right, go ahead and copy that down. I'll give you a second before I move on. All right, the answer to the just for fun question, which VMSS teacher wore an anti-wig every day for a year? You probably guessed it. Arch enemy number 1. She just bumped off Mrs. Carruthers on the arch enemy list. Miss Palenka. Okay, does that kind of creep anybody else out? It does me, but not quite as much as this picture here when I was scanning Annie pictures. I can't tell if this is a doll or a kid. All I know is if that was standing up against the wall in my house, I'd probably say hello or scream and run because that's kind of spooky. All right, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.